Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Sidekicked, a Marvel Champion podcast all about the allies. We'll teach you who the allies are in the comics, discuss their card, and what kind of decks they might be played in. I'm one of the hosts today. I am Levi Lewis. I have two other hosts with me.
I'm Earth Twister.
And I'm Jason Sketch. Welcome in it, guys. Good morning. How you doing today, Mr. Lewis?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jason?
It's 5:30 in the morning, but I'm doing swell.
It's 5:35, sir.
Sorry. The coffee hasn't kicked in. It's still 5 minutes behind.
That's what it typically happens with me, too. It's okay. I forgive you.
Y'all didn't ask, but I'm doing great.
Oh, hey.
Who are you again?
Wow.
I mean, we love you. It's okay.
Good morning, Twister. How are you doing?
I've already told you. Weren't you listening?
Oh, I'm 5 minutes behind.
Yeah.
So, so what have you guys been playing in Marvel Champions recently? Jason, what have you been playing?
Oh, man. I've been doing a lot of Ant-Man. Like, I picked up the pack. I thought, oh, this is cool. It's another form-flipping ally, or character, not ally, form-flipping character, and I've really been enjoying that. I had picked up Angel and Wasp before. I picked up Ant-Man, and both of them were neat. The concept for changing back and forth has a cool concept to it, but I didn't feel like I had to do it too much in either one of their packs. It was either switching to the big form for Wasp or switching to the giant form or the Archangel form for Angel, and then just kind of dealing with the consequences there of getting an extra encounter card. And with Ant-Man, I feel like I'm flipping almost every single turn. And he's got so many cool things he can do with just a little bites from his ants that can just ping off Tufts real easy, to coming in hot and switching up to his big giant form and just doing an automatic point of damage to anybody he wants to. His giant stomp is probably my favorite card in the game right now, where you're doing 1 point of damage to everybody and then 8 points of damage to one select character on the field. I think he himself is just a blast to play. I've tried him in two different aspects, so Justice and Leadership at this point. I'm hoping to play him in Protection here soon, and then round things out with Aggression, just to kind of get a feel for all four of the main aspects, maybe even just for kicks and giggles, play him in pool, just to try him out. But for right now, Ant-Man's just kind of my passion for the character I like to play.
That sounds super fun.
He's a blast.
Earth Twister, what have you been playing?
So I've actually been playing a lot of Magneto. I went through all four of the aspects with him and really got to know him a lot better. Interestingly enough, one of my favorite ways to play him is with a repurposed build in Protection. The main reason for that is it feels like it amplifies what he's already good at, just sort of being like an all-rounder. And so he gets out there, throw out your force field generators or your energy barriers, and you're not taking any damage. I mean, you're just sitting there and people are trying to hurt you and you're like, I'm Magneto, dude, just whatever. And then you get rid of the force field generator with repurpose, you get your stats boosted, and then you do what you want to do with that. Then you're ready with Magneto's cape and you get more stats boosted because of Magneto's armor. So then you do even more with that, and then you might have Utopia out there and you get another ready with an X-Men ally. And then on top of that, you get Professor X thrown back out there too, and he readies you for like a fourth time in a round. And you just beat the villain there, which is it just I don't know, it just feels like a lot of fun. Feels like you can't be stopped. It's a lot of fun. But on top of that, I actually recently played a game with Psylocke in Protection. That was a ton of fun. I took her up against an expert Drang. It was great because anytime there was a minion on the field, I'd play Psychic Misdirection, which is a card that takes the damage dealt to you and deals it to another enemy. On top of that, it triggers Flow Like Water. You would have Retaliate 1 because of one of her upgrades. So I would get attacked from Drang. Instead of taking the damage, it would kill a minion. So I'd get to trigger Change of Fortune and Unflappable because I'm not taking any damage from that attack. And it counts as a defense card, so it defends, so I get to trigger Unflappable. And then it defeats a minion, so I get to, Change of Fortune right there. So I'm drawing 3 cards for the cost of, like, I mean, I guess it's 3 effective resources, but, it evens it out right there. And then on top of that, I get to trigger Scimitar, so I'm dealing 2 damage to something else. And I'm responding to Drang with 2 damage from Flow Like Water and Retaliate 1. And so it felt like a lot of fun because I was able to just be throwing damage out there in the villain phase and getting enough cards back in my hand to be able to do stuff in the hero phase. It was just it was a really quick game just because of how much damage I was doing in both phases. And I was staying on top of threat because Psylocke is such a great thwarter.
Wasn't Isn't it neat that the protection aspect gives you two of the funnest parts of the game pretty easily? It's continue to ready and continue to draw.
Yeah.
That's so cool that both your protection decks gave you both the chance just to continue to do the funnest parts of the game. I'm readying several times and I'm punching for hard faces because I'm a hard face puncher because I'm Magneto. And then you have the Psylocke where it was like, cool, I'm gonna stabby stabby stab and just keep stabbing you. And by the way, there's more stabs coming.
Yeah.
So
It's
get ready
great.
for that.
It was great.
I do have one question for you, Earth Twister.
Okay.
Do you fear Magneto?
Hmm. Mm, no.
Oh, okay. For those of you that don't know, I'm saying that because of the game Marvel Rivals.
What about you? What have you been doing, Levi Lewis?
Oh yeah, me? What? Oh yeah, I do stuff too.
Yeah.
So I have been playing a little bit of Deadpool recently. I think I talked about this a little bit last episode, but I've been playing it some more. So yeah, I've been playing some Deadpool. I built a very interesting... I don't think I talked about the deck I built. I built a very funny deck. It's definitely a themed deck. I call it Deadpool Leadership, where there's literally only aggression allies. And the reason why I call it... Yeah, the reason why I call it Deadpool Leadership is I believe that that's what Deadpool would call a deck like that, where it's literally like Deadpool's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to do leadership. And everybody's like, this is not that. And he's just like, it's leadership. Like, there's no basic cards. There's literally no basic cards. There's literally no resource cards. There's nothing but his 15 cards and aggression allies. And they are allies that he can play. That is another thing that I made sure and did in there. And like with that deck, they're not just cards that are just there. They're all cards that he can play in the deck. But yeah, and so it's kind of funny playing that with... I've been playing that against Juggernaut, which is very interesting, because Juggernaut can attack you while you are in alter ego form. So that's been interesting.
That's interesting. There are some cards out on his kit that, don't they say they can punch you during alter ego?
Yeah, so what it is, yeah, he can attack you. Did you think I said he can't?
That's what I heard. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. He can. Yeah, he can attack you during alter ego form. The biggest way, I don't think there are any like encounter cards where he does it, but he does do it if his scheme completes.
Gotcha.
And so if you're in alter ego form and you have low health in alter ego form, you can die in alter ego form.
That's wild to think about, because people consider Deadpool as the one that can't die. So that's a fun piece to the puzzle there.
Just people
No.
consider it. You don't consider him one that can't die?
I can't form an opinion. If I'm honest, I've not played him. So I don't think it's fair for me to be like, oh, like this is the things I should know about this character if I haven't even a chance to play him yet.
Fair enough. He's such fun. He is so much fun.
He is fun. He is fun. He's wild to play. The more chaotic things are on the board, the better he plays. And he does have some pretty cool cards. One of them is called It Ain't Over, which what it does is you attach it to the main scheme, and for every acceleration token on it, you add 2 more scheme to complete it. Which is very helpful when you're playing against somebody like Juggernaut. I mean, anybody anyways, but Juggernaut specifically. So yeah, what Deadpool does is if he were to die in hero form, you would flip him to alter ego form and you would put his health points to 1, and then you put an acceleration token on the main scheme.
Dang.
But it ain't over.
But it ain't over because you have the card. It ain't over. Ha, ha, ha.
I'll have to look into him. I just have not touched him just yet. I've been having so much fun with other things, so here we are.
He is very fun. I remember the first time I played him, I was just like, I don't like all this bad stuff. And so I was trying to not do any of the bad stuff, and then eventually I was like, wait, these are good for him.
Doesn't his signature ally Cable get like benefits for acceleration tokens on the...
Yes.
He does. I don't remember what they are specifically, but he
Boosted.
does. I think he gets more
Boosted
attack.
stats.
I think for every acceleration token.
Oh, dang.
It's up to 3, I think. Though.
Yeah, something like that. It's crazy.
Okay. So it caps off.
If you play by the rules. If you play by the rules.
Yes.
But if you play like Deadpool plays.
If you play like Deadpool plays, there's no reason to have anything else besides his identity card out there, because he attacks for 100, thwarts for 100, and defends for 200.
It does say on the card to ignore the zeros.
Yeah, but would Deadpool ignore the zeros?
No.
Exactly.
If we played like Deadpool, he would be throwing the cards and having them attack each other like Beyblades. So, whichever card survives at that point is the one.
I don't care.
Wins.
I don't care that you're my allies. Attack each other.
Spin. I'm Gambit now.
So moving on. So I do have a question for you guys. I know Jason, I know you have. Earth Twister, have you seen the new Captain America movie yet?
I have, actually. I went and saw it with my wife on Saturday.
Okay. So we all three have seen this movie.
So good.
So what?
So good.
Yes. So what do you think of it? Jason, what do you think of it?
I think this is just an example of how the MCU is finally coming back, if I'm honest. We had a weird lull there, and there's a lot of explanations for it. My biggest one I've noticed is Kevin Feige is finally getting back involved, and he started getting back involved with Deadpool and Wolverine, even though that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman kind of ran with that how they wanted to. Kevin still gave his opinions along the way to kind of make sure it met with the rest of what was going on. And I think that was the first kind of kickoff of like, yes, we're coming back. Because we haven't had a good MCU movie, in my opinion, since the Spider-Man one, where all three Spider-Man came together. And then since that point forward, that's not going to lie, James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was really good too. I forgot about that one in between. But it really, you kind of notice that Feige is actually back giving opinions and thoughts. I was super worried going into the movie that Harrison Ford was just not going to do very well with Thunderbolt Ross, and was happily blown away with how he's taken somebody else's character and just gone that much farther to improve him. It was fun to see the Red Hulk on screen. It was fun to see that a lot of the answers to questions I had from the Edward Norton Hulk movie answered. I think that to me was the funnest part. Was I've been waiting since 2008 for those answers to finally come on screen, and I feel like it just satisfied that waiting to be done.
That's a very good opinion. Earth Twister, what do you think?
Oh man, the show notes say that you answer the question next, but yeah, I'll go ahead and do it.
Don't pay attention to those notes.
We're doing it Deadpool style today.
Yeah,
Oh,
Deadpool
no.
style.
Oh no. I enjoyed the movie. So with what you were saying about the quote unquote lull for the movies in the MCU, I really wasn't expecting much for Captain America: Brave New World. It just I don't know. I've been disappointed with the movies recently. I feel like honestly, what is it? Endgame was a big letdown for me. Just it was like this huge build up, and then Endgame just sort of didn't hold up to what I wanted it to. And so almost every movie after that has been a really big disappointment to me. And then this one, I was just like, you know what? It's a movie. I have some time. Go watch a movie, and we'll just, if it sucks, well, I mean, we're going at matinee prices, so it's not that big of a deal. But we went, we watched it, and both my wife and I walked away, and we're both like, that was much better than we expected. I don't know that I would say that it was the best MCU movie, but it was definitely better than they have been recently. And so if they continue on this trend and they continue to get better, I think that I'll probably enjoy the MCU again. Yeah, it was a lot better than I expected it to be. I'll leave it there.
Since Endgame though, so you didn't like Spider-Man, Guardians, or Deadpool and Wolverine?
I have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine. I still haven't seen Deadpool 2 either.
Hmm.
I've seen the first one and was a little scarred with some of what was going on in that movie. But as far as, I mean, No Way Home was a fun movie. There were a few inconsistencies that I was just like, about. Multiverse of Madness. Let's not even get started with that movie. I don't know. Guardians 3, I think it was. I'm trying to remember it. I mean, I guess it was better than Guardians 2 for sure. So I guess it wasn't too bad of a movie.
I legit cried in Guardians 3, but
I mean,
I guess that's neither here nor there.
I guess I like characters to kind of stay the same. So the fact that they removed Gamora in it was it Infinity War or Endgame, whichever one of the two, Infinity War. Since they removed Gamora and like the dynamic between Gamora and Quill wasn't there, it just felt weird. I don't know.
Small known fact about that movie, if I may. James Gunn was actually planning on killing Gamora off in Guardians 2. And as he was sharing those notes with everybody in the MCU world that share notes with each other, they said, hey, actually, we were hoping to kill her off in Infinity War. And so he's like, perfect, that'll still continue on this feeling that Peter Quill is dealing with.
That's horrible. You guys are terrible people. So I did, yeah. So like we all have seen the movie. I did enjoy the movie. I'm a big fan of Captain America, like Steve Rogers. The first comics that I really read were Steve Rogers Captain America comics, like Winter Soldier, all that stuff. And I did know that the Falcon eventually did become Captain America in the comics, and so this does go with that. And so I was very interested in seeing how they were going to do that with that dynamic. I did like how they're like, he's not the same Captain America. We're not going to make him the same Captain America. And I did like how they perceived that in the movie. I still was a little sad that Steve Rogers wasn't in the movie at all, like Chris Evans wasn't in the movie at all, even though he's like a super old dude now. Unless I'm mistaken. Am I mistaken? Is he in the movie somewhere that I just didn't see?
Not to my knowledge. If you go back, though, and like even look like Winter Soldier and such, the old Cap pops up in those movies in small places. And so there's a possibility that we just missed him somewhere along the way.
I think that's editing magic, sir. We don't talk about editing magic. Where Disney goes back and fixes things.
But actual Chris Evans in this movie, I don't remember seeing him, and I wasn't watching for him either.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for him either.
But we did get Chris Evans in the last Deadpool movie.
Okay, we're not going to talk about But I did enjoy the movie. Yes, I think it was the best movie in quite some time that they've like officially come out with, like other than, Deadpool and Wolverine. But yeah, it was thoroughly enjoyable. It wasn't, I will not say it was the best MCU movie of all time by any means. But I did enjoy the movie. I thought it was well done. And yes, it did answer some really cool questions that I had about the Incredible Hulk movie. And that's specifically why I wanted to talk about it, is because we are talking about the Hulk ally.
You're a professional podcaster. Look at your segue. I'm proud of you.
Am I a professional? I don't think so.
You're sitting on a Segway?
I'm a chimpanzee riding on a Segway. So the Hulk ally. Is a pretty cool card. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about the Hulk specifically, because the Hulk is a very cool character and he's very popular. Like, a lot of people know him. Like, there's been several things done about the Hulk. Like, Hulk's been around for a long time. If you read the original, like, comic where he originally came from, his name's actually Dr. Robert Bruce Banner. And he was recruited by General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, who we see in the new movie. We see him in the other movies too. The other Hulk movies also, but he was recast in this movie because, well, the other guy passed away that was playing him.
Yeah, the original actor passed away.
Technically, he wasn't the original actor. He was only the actor from some of the other movies. The original actor was a different guy. I can't even think of his name, but he was in the Hulk movie. But we're not going to talk about that movie specifically. The 2003 movie.
The main actor has been Thunderbolt Ross since Edward Norton's Hulk, which is the one that's been in the MCU.
Anyways. But yeah, so Ross wants Banner to create a gamma bomb. Funny enough, while they're doing their first test run, there's a kid named Rick Jones, not to be mistaken with Rick James. He just wanders onto the test site and Bruce sees him and he goes to save him, and then the test goes off and Bruce gets exposed to an insane amount of gamma radiation. And from that point on, whenever he becomes angry, he turns into a 7-foot-tall green rage monster. So Bruce is actually 5'10". And so yeah, he becomes taller and bigger and greener. And what's interesting is originally the Hulk was supposed to be gray in the comics. There was a gray ink issue at the comics at the time, and so they actually just turned him green to solve that issue. So in the first, I don't know if it's only the first issue, but it was definitely the first issue. But they do explain it that he doesn't always turn into completely rage-filled. He's kind of like a milder sometimes, and that's why he was gray, and the gamma turned him green. Bruce does eventually gain his ability to have full control of his mind as the Hulk, and we do see that in the MCU movies, but we also see that originally that was shown in the Secret Wars comics. However, he does lose that ability in various ways throughout the years. In the
Secret
comics,
Wars. Sorry, go ahead.
no, what were you gonna say about the Secret Wars?
Just the Secret Wars. Is this referring to the Secret Wars in which the very first set of Secret Wars?
Yeah, in the 80s, in the 80s, the very first ones in the 80s, in 1988, when they came up with that, that's the first time you see him where he has that
ability to switch between the Hulk and himself inside the Hulk's body.
Well, no, he's just himself. Like he controls the Hulk.
Oh.
But he does lose that ability in various ways throughout the years. Part of that is explained through his mental status is just not always stable. At one point, he is deemed too dangerous to stay on Earth because he is this giant rage monster, and so he is supposed to be sent off in a ship to another planet, and the planet is supposed to be uninhabited, but it is supposed to have enough resources to sustain him. So he's supposed to live there very peacefully while he's on this planet, but his ship actually is straight off course, and he goes to gladiator type planet, which we do see that in the comics Planet Hulk. We also see that in the movie Thor Ragnarok, where he just fights all these different alien creatures as the Hulk, and it's really cool. In an alternate, go ahead.
I know, I'm so sorry. I'm just excited.
I mean, it's fun. Yeah, the Hulk is so cool.
Fun.
Go ahead. Yeah, you got
in
something.
Go ahead. That story arc, and I don't see it on your notes right now because I know you got to keep it brief, but it's just really neat because he starts off as a slave there, actually starts a revolt, takes over that planet, becomes the ruler of that planet, and has children there as well. And that's where we get Scar from later on.
Yep. Which we have seen in, what was it, the show She-Hulk.
Is Braun one of his children?
Braun is not one of his children. Braun is a champion, and I think, if I remember correctly...
Oh, we can talk about Braun at a different time. He's an all-ally card, too.
That's true. Let's do that, because I'm not actually also sure.
So in an alternate timeline, and I didn't read this, I knew this because I saw this movie. In an alternate timeline, Ultron does take over the world, and all of the Avengers except for Bruce are dead. And that's the only reason Bruce isn't dead is because Bruce cannot die. And so in it, Bruce is actually taking care of the children of the Avengers hiding away. And this is in the movie. It was an animated movie that came out in 2008, and it's called The Next Avengers: Heroes of Tomorrow. It's a pretty neat movie where it shows like Captain America and Black Widow have a kid, and like various others have children. And yeah, Bruce is just taking care of the kids. And the kids finally, like, they figure out what happened, and they, at the very end of the movie, you see them going and attacking Ultron with Bruce. And Bruce is like, stay away, no. And he's much older, and so like the Hulk actually has like gray hair. It's a pretty neat little movie.
Huh. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, it's a neat, I don't know where you can, like, I saw it on Netflix years ago, and I thought it was pretty neat.
Remember when it came out in like the 2000s, right?
Yeah, it's 2008.
So I remember seeing trailers for it, and then it released, and then no one talked about it afterwards. So
I saw it. But of course, there was the show, The Incredible Hulk. A lot of younger listeners probably may have no idea about the show that came out in the 70s. But in the original show, his name wasn't Bruce Banner, it was David Banner. And from what I read, there were several different reasons for this. One of them is the producers wanted to differentiate themselves from the comics. They wanted to make sure it wasn't to show that it wasn't a pure adaptation of the comics, which they were very limited on what they could do from the comics because this was the 70s. This was before like you saw any CGI. A lot of stuff like that. And so they wanted to differentiate themselves. There's a couple other reasons that I'm not going to really get into why they changed the name from Bruce to David. But in the Hulk movie in 2003 that came out, his father's name was David Banner because of this, which he wasn't even a Hulk character. He really was the absorbing man that they put into the movie, which was one of the reasons why the movie wasn't all that great. But it was pretty neat that they did that. Originally in the show in the 70s, they wanted the Hulk not to be green. They actually wanted him to be red, but they ultimately decided, no, we'll go with green, which we do see that later in the comics. Eventually, somebody does become the Red Hulk, which, if you've seen the Captain America movie, you know who that is.
Who is it?
Rick Ross. No, it was the Thunderbolt Ross. It was Thunderbolt Ross. That's my notes. If you guys have anything that you would like to add, Earth Twister,
Hulk, smash.
Very good. Jason?
There's just two small things. I know you're probably laughing at me. I love
Go
comic
ahead. Go
book
ahead.
history. I
Go
love
ahead.
just doing this research.
I know you're a nerd. Go for it.
I am, and I will happily admit it. Comics are my thing. There's a point in the comics in which Bruce Banner, again, we're talking about that part where you kind of see he's eventually taking over the mind of the Hulk. And it's just an intelligent Hulk series, and it's interesting because you're seeing Hulk in that same regard, and it happens a couple times in the comics, not only in Secret Wars, but in other times where it's the same Hulk, but it's not a green Hulk, it's a gray Hulk. And he's just in that gray Hulk form, and he's like smart Hulk. And it just kind of creates a different environment in which to watch the Hulk. And for a long time, maybe in the 90s, it was just that. But then later on, I've been seeing some things popping up on YouTube where he's smart again. And like a Bruce Banner died, but it's a smart Hulk now. It's just an interesting dynamic in general. And then in Civil War 2, which came out in the early 2010s, or late 2010s, I think 2016 is when that one happened, going into 2017. Bruce Banner gets killed by Hawkeye, which I thought was a very interesting moment because the story arc is so strange. They're trying to still push the Inhumans, really wanted to make the Inhumans a big deal in the Marvel comics, and they've actually faded back out now that they have control of the X-Men again. But it was a Inhuman that could see potential futures. There's an argument between Iron Man and Captain Marvel in which they're like, Iron Man's on the side of, look, he's seeing a future and we're causing this future because we're so worried about his future he's seeing happening. So we see that he sees a future and then we're running towards it and we actually cause this future to happen. We just need to live life. And Captain Marvel's on the other end of, no, he sees these futures and we're going in and we're stopping what's the bad things that are going to happen. But the more and more the story goes on, we start seeing more that Tony Stark is right. Which is odd because last time in a Civil War, Tony Stark was wrong, in my opinion. But there's a point where they get out in front of a hideout that Bruce Banner has, where he's like still working on trying to stop being the Hulk or whatever else Bruce Banner does when he's not hulking.
He's being a scientist.
He's being a scientist. And all these superheroes show up at his doorstep, and he's like, "Hey guys, what are you doing here? I'm minding my own business. I haven't hulked out and destroyed anything. Are we okay?" And they're having this big argument in front of him. And finally, Clinton Barton just gets fed up and fires an arrow at Bruce Banner, and Bruce Banner dies. And we come to find out Bruce Banner had given a special arrow to Clinton Barton saying, hey, if I ever just lose it and I can't control myself and nothing else happens, this should kill me. And so it was just a crazy moment. And after that point, Tony Stark and Captain Marvel are no longer friends for a long time.
As they shouldn't be.
Right.
No one should ever be friends with Captain Marvel.
But it's just an interesting moment that just that small piece that you would never expect to see Bruce Banner and Clint Barton having made a deal, and neither one of them shared it for years. So
that is interesting. Something interesting that I did read is that, I mean, of course, the Hulk is a founding member of the Avengers, but he was also a founding member of the Defenders, which what I read was he was actually a part of the Defenders a lot longer than he was the Avengers.
That's really cool.
That is interesting.
Yeah. It's a neat little tidbit. So we are talking about the Hulk ally today. He does have some pretty cool artwork. Would either of you guys, Earth Twister, like to describe the card?
Either of you guys, I'm going to call you out, Earth Twister. Yeah, I got you. So it is an aggression ally, which means that it is a red card. And the title of the card, as you might guess, is Hulk with Bruce Banner underneath. So it's not David Banner, it's not Thunderbolt Ross, it's Bruce Banner Hulk.
Or Robert.
Or Robert, yes. But no, it just says Bruce Banner. 2-cost ally. I don't know why I put 3 fingers up, but 2-cost. And he has a stat line of -, thwart, 3 attack. He takes no consequential damage if you thwart with him, which is great, except for the fact that the minus means he doesn't thwart. He can't. But he does 3 damage when you attack with him. So he's a 2 for 3, and he has 5 health, which sounds great. 2 cost, 5 health, 3 attack, but he has a forced response on him. But before I get to that forced response, his traits are Avenger and Gamma. So if you're playing a Gamma traded hero, you can use team building exercise to help pay for him. Also an Avenger traded hero, but we all know that Gamma is more important in the game.
Obviously.
So the forced response is after Hulk attack, you discard the top card of your deck. If that card's printed resource has a fist icon or a physical resource, you deal 2 damage to an enemy. So he attacks for 3, and if you discard a physical resource, he deals 2 damage to an enemy, so you could do a total of 5 there. If you discard an energy resource or the lightning bolt, you deal 1 damage to each character, which to me is horrible because now you're dealing a damage to everything on the board. If you're playing Ultron, that's great, but if you're not playing Ultron, you're just ending up dealing a damage to you and all your allies and all your friends that you're playing with, and now they hate you and they're mad at you. It's a whole story. But if you discard a mental resource or one of those weird like it goes boop 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 boop, you discard
Wait,
Hulk.
wait. Please describe the genius resource again.
It goes
No, no,
boop,
no, no. I just want to hear the boop, 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 boops again.
boop 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 boop. So if you do a mental resource, it makes you discard Hulk. So you just have to hope that when you play him, you don't immediately have to discard a mental resource. And then finally, if you have a wild resource, if you discard a wild resource, you do all of the above. So you get to deal 2 more damage to an enemy, you get to deal 1 damage to every character, and then you discard Hulk. So it's interesting. Oh, and he also has an energy resource as his resource type on his card. And that is the Hulk ally.
Jason, how would you describe his artwork?
I would say the artwork is Hulk. You see him, he's big and green. This is one of the few that I can think of where it's almost like he's popping out of the card. If you look at it closely, his head is actually going into his Hulk banner name there, is actually into the line there. It's almost like he's Hulk and he's just rushed in through a building, and now like the building's kind of smoking and burning behind him, and he's just getting ready to punch you in the face. He's got an angry look on his face. You see all of his muscles from on his chest and on his arms, and he's wearing his traditional purple pants.
Of course, the purple pants. Are they stretchy pants?
They're just for fun.
It is for fun.
It's just for fun.
I'm glad you said that. So, what kind of have you guys ever played this ally?
Maybe once a long time ago, but I don't know. I tend to stay away from him, honestly.
I have. I like Hulk. I think he is a fun ally to play in general because it is that wild card of I don't know what's going to happen. But there's been, especially early game when I was first trying this game out, he was very helpful in clearing out some villains, trying to get me past Claw and Ultron. He was kind of a key piece to that. I was scared to use him at first because of the wildness of I could potentially hurt all my friends. But if you build your deck knowing that I don't have a lot of energy resources in my deck, I'm probably okay using this one.
It's fair.
And then there are some heroes like Magic and Domino that you can kind of control the outcome of what the Hulk is going to do when he attacks.
That is true. So I have used this card in the past. He was in my Deadpool deck, my Deadpool leadership deck. And I have used him in that deck, but he is pretty fun. He is like the first time I've ever played him, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to like this card. Kind of the more that I have played with him, the more I have liked him. I have liked this card. He was very good when I played the Age of Ultron campaign because he was very good as the side mission. Because in the side mission, if you've played that campaign, in the side mission, any allies you put over there, you have their spaces blank. Age of Apocalypse. What was I saying? Ultron. Sorry. Age of Apocalypse. Yes. Thank you, nerds. But yeah, Age of Apocalypse, he plays very well in that. Because, yeah, like if you read it as blank, he has 5 attack. I mean, five hit points, 3 attack. That's like phenomenal for that.
Yeah. As long as you're drawing the energy resource you need to make that mission team part of the game go off.
Correct. Which typically, whenever I would play it, typically he would. I mean, sometimes he wouldn't activate, but typically he would. Typically, I would have him activate whenever I would play that, and it was super cool.
I mean, I have a lot of opinions on that mission team thing. I thought it was really kind of like an exciting part of the game, and then it actually became more frustrating than not. But actually, as we played it, as we got closer to the end, I think it was more you and I trying to make the mission team thing happen, and the rest of our table was like, or we can just not. So it's an interesting piece.
That's fair. That's fair. So yeah, so how would you guys rate this card, Earth Twister? How would you rate the card?
Personally, I would probably say he's like a C tier ally. I don't love him. I know that you have the chance to do 5 damage, but just the risk of wasting resources if I use a mental or a wild, and then even like the possibility that he's going to end up doing a lot of damage to what I have on the board is not my ideal way of playing. I never really considered him in a domino or magic deck, but I've not played either of those in aggression, honestly. I don't tend to play in aggression much anyways. It's not my favorite way to play. My favorite way I think is probably protection. I like to build out a massive board and then just be like, I'm going to like build up, be pinging you for damage throughout the game, and then smack you down with one big hit from my massive board. But as far as aggression, I mean, I'm sure he would probably fit pretty well in Domino or Magic, as you mentioned before, Jason. But I don't know. He's still. I feel like there's still better allies that I would rather play. Like to me, the Wolverine ally in aggression, or I might even want to play Angela, which gets you a minion, but there's. It seems like that fits into a like a minion slayer deck, anyways. So those are my 2 cents.
Those are pretty good sense. Jason, what do you think?
I would give him a 4 stars. He came in, he smashed, and then he punched me in the face on his way back out.
4 out of 100?
4 to 5. Remember, it's a Yelp review.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
But I think overall, he's a fun ally. You don't go into a fight with a Hulk knowing that there's not going to be collateral damage.
So just don't go into a fight with the Hulk, and you're good to go.
So into a fight with Hulk. Sometimes it's nice to have that Hulk.
Fight with him.
I don't, and I'm sure as we get farther in the podcast, and I'm sure we might get corrected already as I make this statement, there's not a lot of allies that do 3 damage. The top 2 off the top of my head are him and Wolverine. And so to have an ally come in and do 3 damage like this is kind of nice, plus the possibility of extra damage or helping you to clear the board a little bit with his 1 point of damage is not a bad deal. He's got 5 health points, so if at the very least you want to use him as a chump blocker, you can probably survive 2 attacks at the most, which is not a bad deal either. And for 2 cost, that's a huge benefit. He doesn't cost you hardly anything to get onto the board. He can be a chump blocker if you need to. You can even have him come in, do his 1 big punch, and then just chump block for you. Especially if you know, like Domino or Magic, I'm going to draw a fist resource or discard a fist resource, and it's going to make the Hulk do some work there. Yeah. So
I guess with Domino, though, I stuff my decks for Domino with wild resources. So
kind of have to, because that's how she likes to play.
And then you're getting all of the bad effects from Hulk.
That's fair. Though
and the good ones. And the good ones.
But really, at the end of the day, is 1 point of damage to you and your friends that big of a deal? Yes, if you get like one ally that you're hoping to use one more time, that's kind of frustrating. But if Hulk ally is your only ally out on the table, is it that big of a deal?
Yeah, it's a huge deal.
He's kind of a big deal. So I'm sure at this point you guys are wondering what I think of the Hulk.
Yeah, why did you bring us the Hulk, Mr. Levi?
Let me tell you my thoughts on the Hulk. So the Hulk, I think he plays very interesting. I think something I think is really good about the Hulk ally card. So first off, I will say aggression was the whole reason why I got into the game. I was like, oh, I love aggression. I want all of the aggression cards. Like, that's why I was like, I got to get all the cards, because all the cards, like all the decks, all of them have some kind of aggression, something in them. For the most part, most of them have, like the packs come with some kind of aggression, something. Not all of them, but most of them do. And so I was like, aggression. I got to get all the aggression cards. So because of that, Hulk, I think he's a very fun one. And yes, he does have some negatives, but I see a lot of the good from him. Yes, he only costs 2 to get on the board, a lot like what Jason was saying. I do like a lot of the positives. The few negatives I see are minor to me. And so he is very fun to have. And so I do think that he plays very much to the Hulk character. And so I think that's one of the things that I really love about him. is that the Hulk, because the Hulk is chaotic, and so I rate him as a honey badger.
Ooh.
Because from far away, they look pretty cool, pretty fun, you know. But then the closer you get to them, ooh, no, stay away, do not touch me. Ooh, you're mean. And so yes, I rate the Hulk as a honey badger.
The Hulk don't care.
Is that better or worse than Duck?
Way better than Duck. Duck, what does Duck do? It goes quack.
Fair enough.
That's fair. I mean, you rated Sink a duck, so for the Hulk to be a honey badger, that's a pretty big deal.
Yes. I don't remember what I said in the past, so.
I mean, we've got them written down in our show notes.
Yeah. Why don't you tell me what those are?
You had Sink listed as a duck, and then you had Mockingbird, the basic, listed as a Chihuahua, and then you had the identity-specific one listed as a German Shepherd.
So German Shepherd, I think, is more efficient than a honey badger. I'll say it like that. Because a honey badger is chaotic. Like a honey badger, you don't know what you're going to get. German Shepherd, you know exactly what you're going to get. Put it that way.
A lot of dog hair all over your house?
Yes, exactly.
Oof.
Thank you for clarifying that.
That is a question. Does Mockingbird as much hair as a German Shepherd?
I think Mockingbird loses more hair than the Hulk.
Is that why the real reason why Clinton Barton and Mockingbird got a divorce? He couldn't stand all the hair in his house.
Probably. all the hair in the shower.
Yeah, that big clump that's just on the wall for no reason. Yep.
She probably spelled her name out with her hair.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
It's good to know. I'm excited for hopefully future viewers to build an Excel sheet with an explanation of what the different animal rankings are for future use.
I feel like
Yes.
Levi Lewis is just like this circle, like this cycle. Like you have Duck, Chihuahua, German Shepherd, Honey Badger, and somewhere along the way, Duck is gonna be better than the one, but it's all gonna like somehow be better than something else.
No, it's not going to be a circle. It's going to be a lot more like rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock, where it's like
A circle with a triangle in
a
it.
star.
All right.
Okay.
Howdy.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it. It's been a blast having you all here. I'm glad we get to have these conversations every morning, or not every morning, every Thursday morning. I hope the listeners are enjoying our conversations as well. I'm looking forward to getting to know more allies here soon. We are going to continue on with our ally journey, and I think I need to decide what that next ally is going to be, because that is coming up around the corner. We have done a basic ally, two couple basic allies, and this is our first aspect ally we've jumped into. So let's continue that journey of doing aspect allies. I think I would like to, if you don't mind, do another aggression ally next turn. You guys are okay with that?
Yeah, what do you think, Earth Twister?
I prefer protection, but okay.
All right, well, we'll let you do protection when it's your turn. I want to jump into Bug.
Okay. Good
I
choice.
want to see who Bug is. So I'm excited for it.
Yay.
All right.
Okay, listeners, thank you for listening to today's episode of Sidekicked. I am Levi Lewis,
I'm Earth Twister.
Jason Sketch.
and I hope you have a good Sidekick day.
Next time, we'll be deadly serious next time.